TCT presents Public Report, a look at the issues and events of importance to our viewing area. Now, here's your host.
Hello, welcome to TCT Public Report. I'm your host, Richard McCorkle, and I am joined by my lovely wife and co-host, Crystal.
Yes.
How are you doing?
I am doing great today.
I have never felt so safe in my life. Today we have the Wilson Police Athletics and Activity League, and we are real happy to have this in this special organization, and we're just going to take some time to talk about it.
Yes, welcome to the show. I want to just start with everybody introducing themselves, and I'm going to start with the lady.
I'm Officer Harris with the Wilson Police Department.
Officer Daniel Johnson.
Sergeant Reggie Smith.
Captain Eric Smith.
And Major C.C. Smith.
Awesome. Now, Major, how did this all come about? What was this? Who's this brainchild of, and how did this all come about?
Actually, we started out approximately 20 years ago as the Wilson Police Department Police Athletic League. Then we weren't 501c3. Literally, the police department, the city, curtailed all activities. Actually consisted of an annual football camp. And we had probably about 40 to 60 players there. Well, within the last 7 years, we got together. It was just momentum started really going like this winter time, a snowball going down and gaining momentum.
Yeah.
And we said, you know what? There's other activities and athletic programs that kids might like outside of football, so we tested the water. We actually started going into basketball. We went into soccer. We started going into volleyball, wrestling, softball, baseball. Then all of a sudden we got another bright idea. Well, that's still athletics. Let's start talking about activities.
Okay.
So now we've added 4 mentorship programs. And when I say mentorship programs, we teach personal health and hygiene. Wow. It's almost like a big brother and sister atmosphere. The children can talk to us about anything. If they're having problems at home, if they're having bullying problems at school, we talk about bullying. We talk about not using drugs. We talk about not using alcohol, life choices, academics. And now we're going to go into a third phase, again, as far as activity goes, and we want to start really looking at culinary, and we're actually going to start looking at the science world.
Wow.
So we just have really expanded the last 7 years, and this division of the Police Athletic League, but also our Chief Thomas Hopkins, and he's not here with us today, but he wanted to give a shout out and thank you for letting us be here.
Awesome.
And all the
You're
men and
welcome.
women, thank you for letting us represent and be here today.
Wonderful. And what are the age ranges of the youth?
We do kids really of all ages and stuff. We really try to focus our efforts on kids from about 8 years old to up to about 14 or 15 years old. We do have some camps that will go older than that, depending on what type of activity it is. And sometimes younger than that will have activities too. But we really try to focus on that late elementary, middle school, early high school years.
Okay.
Right. Those are the times that the youth really need it. And so Sergeant, what do you see as far as how's it changed your community as far as what you've been witness to?
Well, for one, it has really built the relationship between the community and the police.
Okay.
We walk in the schools and children refer to us instead of officer as coach.
Oh.
Wow.
Coach Reggie, Coach Craig, because of the times that we're able to spend with them in our camps. And one other thing that I think is important is statistics will show you the more active that a child can stay, the less likely they are to get in trouble. So just fulfilling some of that time that they have with an idle mind or something of that sort have shown itself to be beneficial.
Wow.
Now, Officer Johnson, is this only for kids that have problems with stuff?
Absolutely not. In fact, that's one of the things that we've been very purposeful in, is making sure that it's all inclusive. If you're a millionaire family and your kid wants to be a part of one of our camps or activities, we want you. You're welcome. If you have nothing but the clothes that you're wearing, that's fine. This is for you too. We actually purposely do not charge anything for any of our camps or activities. It's all free. And the reason why we did that the most, there's several reasons, but is that allows us to keep it all inclusive. The only way we can make sure that it's available to everyone is to have no cost, because that from the least to the greatest income, will be able to come if we just keep it across the board 0.
Wow.
And so that any neighborhood, any ethnicity, any income level, all that stuff's out the window. We just want kids to come in, have good relationships with police officers, have fun, learn lessons, and have positive pathways to the future.
Wow, that's great.
Wow.
And just to add to Officer John, he left out the fact that his own children have participated in
Okay,
our
all
camp.
right.
Well, this
And
is
I
great.
have 3 children. The youngest is 21, up to 20. All 3 of mine came up through PAAL too.
Wow, that's
Wow,
great.
that is
it's
amazing.
citywide.
Yeah.
We've had doctors' children, we've had lawyers'
great.
children, we've had single mothers working 2 or 3 jobs, and it's great because it's actually a melting pot.
Yes,
Absolutely. My son wrestles with our wrestling program twice a week right now.
No kidding.
We wrestled last night. So
Wow.
my son was out there with, like I said, it's every shade of skin, every level of income right there in the wrestling room. And, we're just there to have fun. We're there to learn lessons. We're there to learn discipline and focus. And it's just a great thing. It's the way the world's supposed to be. It's
Yes.
a snapshot of what we really want for Wilson going into the future.
Right, right.
And Charmaine, and what caused you to get involved with the program?
I come from a background of working with the youth. I was previously the executive director at the Boys and Girls Club for 6-7 years, and the youth, they just have my heart. And I know if I can at least change one of them, then it's making a difference. And with PAAL, I could just reach out to so many, and it's phenomenal.
Wow.
No, they don't call me Officer Harris, it's Miss Charmaine or Miss Smiley. I answer to it. Some of them even call me Mom,
Oh, wow.
and I'll answer. So
This is
I just feel right at home. PAAL definitely won me over.
wonderful. And how long have you been on the department?
I started BLET in this past January and graduated in May,
Okay.
and I started patrol in July.
Wow.
Yeah.
And she left out one small part, that for several years when she was the executive director, she actually let us use the facilities of
I
Boys
did.
Club because we already
Wow.
had the children in our age group there, and would go there on their days off from school, would have basketball tournaments, other fun tournaments. But see, we ended up getting her because at the same time, our coaches would work with the kids. We were actually recruiting Charmaine.
Okay.
Because we see that she actually fits the mold of what we want to see now for the future for a long time to come, as
Wow.
far as working with the children, as well as being an officer on the street every day.
Wow.
Very good.
Sergeant, you can say something.
I think another important factor is we have such a wide variety of officers. For instance, Officer Daniel here played collegiate football.
Okay.
We have an officer who played professional football.
Wow.
We have collegiate baseball players. So any sport that you could imagine, we have officers. So we're not just there just twiddling our thumbs when we're at these athletic camps. We're teaching them the basic fundamentals of each sport.
Wow.
And it has proved itself faithful because we have professional athletes who actually have attended our camps.
Wow.
Everett Brown attended our camp.
Okay.
There's others that
Yes.
have attended our sports camps.
That's brilliant. And Captain, it seems that not everybody's into sports. So that I know when I was growing up, you had to kind of be into sports to get a part of this. But with the different activities, how do you see that? Has that webbed out a bit?
Yes, absolutely. And we certainly realize not every kid is into sports.
Yeah.
And we didn't want to leave those kids out because for us it's about building those relationships with the kids.
Yes.
And the more we can do on that, building those relationships, the better off we feel like we are. And so, in order to branch out into things, we came up with some, some things were athletic a little bit, like dodgeball.
Okay.
When we have a day off, the kids have that teacher's work day. We would have a patrol team who would go out there out at Peace Church the day after Thanksgiving,
Yeah.
and had a dodgeball camp for the kids. They're all going to be out of school, so we got them to come in, and we got to spend the day with them, and eat some breakfast in the morning, play dodgeball, and then eat some pizza and go home. But it was a fun-filled day. We took a day this spring and did hiking, and you went there and. You take 20 kids, just a chance to say, hey, we're going to go hiking.
Yes.
We also took a couple of days a year, we'll go fishing. And we have a pond here not too far, and we'll end up having usually 25, 30 kids,
Oh,
and we'll
wow.
pair up with
That's
kids and just spend the day fishing around the pond, and we'll picnic and cook out a little bit, and just gives us that time to build that relationship.
Okay. Now, is this a nonprofit, Sergeant?
This is the 501c3, yes,
Okay.
this is nonprofit. And so that all comes from donations, plus just to show everybody that we're vested ourselves, we actually also do our own fundraising.
Okay.
So we want to show the community that, hey, we appreciate everything you give us, but we're going to get out there and roll up our sleeves,
Wow.
and we're going to work too. I do want to go back to the hiking camp, because when I started realizing how much we're metamorphosing here is the fact that I was saying, a hiking camp, like what child wants to get up out of bed at 5:30 in the morning? Because we actually went to Umstead Park in Raleigh,
Wow.
and we had to do a cutoff, and believe it or not, in less than 48 hours, there was a cutoff, and I want to say it was 25, and we walked 5.5 miles,
All right,
and it was
okay.
healing.
Wow.
And matter of fact, it kind of got hurt because at first the children said, hey, you think you'll be able to make it, man, in the middle? And I'm like, well, now I got to make it. But, but that let me know, getting back to what I believe Sergeant someone said, they want to be around us. They gravitate to us because after about that 3rd mile mark, you can see some like, uh-oh,
Right.
what did I sign up for? But at the end of the day, everybody made it out of the woods. We had a big old hot dog cooking and a hot dog chips and drink. And one thing I want to throw in there, like the captain was saying, is every single activity that we do in every mentorship program, we provide a free breakfast and a free lunch, so no child goes hungry.
Wow.
And
My
there are
goodness.
times you can tell
good.
that some may have some malnutrition, and I'll let you elaborate on that, Sarge, what some of the things we've seen in the activities where you can tell there's probably a child.
Oh gosh, we've seen kids going through our food line, just taking food and packing it in their backpacks, or stuffing food or snacks, cookies in their pockets, which, it kind of let us know that they're not getting the nutrition or the food at home.
Wow.
So whenever we have those foods and snacks available, we'll let them take it all.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's great. That's great.
Especially when school's out. Because we
Okay.
know, at school, a lot of times they're going to eat at school, but we want to be sure when school's out, we try to be sure we have something planned if we can.
Yeah, just so you know, and talking about having purpose and the way we do things and the way we plan things, not only do we try to make it all inclusive, we actually look at the school schedule. So we pull
That's right.
Wilson County school schedule when we're in the planning stages of when we're doing our camps and our activities, and we purposely plan to do them on their teacher work days, when it's spring break, when it's Christmas break. This Christmas break is coming up, and we're going to do a 3-day basketball camp during that time on purpose, because some kids, Sergeant Smith said earlier, idle hands, idle time, idle minds. Well, if they're not in school, they're open to a whole lot of possibilities, and a lot of those are negative for some kids. So we can give them a positive place to go. They're going to get fed light breakfast. They're going to get fed a good lunch, and they're going to have at least half their day filled up with positive experiences that'll hopefully carry them through that vacation.
And although we don't have all the data put together yet, we're starting to work on that through Officer Johnson. And hopefully we'll know in the next year or two, there is a correlation between our crime rate, which thank the Lord, and the hard work of the women and men of Wilson Police Department continues to actually go down in Wilson. And we're wondering the fact that we're spending all the contacts with as many as 400 to 700 juveniles a year, is that added to it? And right now we're not ready to put that out yet, but we're thinking at some point we're going to be able to have the numbers to show that it's working.
Absolutely.
Wow. And you said, we have a conversation before, how Wilson is expanding at an exponential rate.
It is.
And if you've got the data, I know you said you don't have the hard data yet, but the fact that crime is going down with this plays a big part.
Absolutely.
Yes.
So, Officer Harris, what are some success stories you've seen?
Well, it's hard to really pick just one.
Yes.
But in my short time that I've been here, I have recruited some of my kids from the Boys and Girls Club.
Okay.
Ones I know that are just phenomenal and could always use that extra push. It's a family that was really dear to my heart. The oldest is 14, and she comes to our camp. She comes to our programs, and at first she wasn't able to be a kid. She's used to having to play that mom role, that role where I wash dishes, I feed my siblings, I make sure they're in bed. That time to where she just did not know how to be a kid.
Wow.
So whenever she comes around, I expect you to be loud. I expect you to run around and be crazy. And I expect you to eat all the junk food until you just don't want it anymore.
Yes.
Because we're giving her what she's missed out on because she's had to fill shoes that she's nowhere ready for in age.
Yes.
So a success story for that would be she loves what she does to help her family and her siblings, but she also loves the department because we're giving her that childhood that she missed out on. So it's just a matter of just reaching out to them and letting them know that it's okay to still be a kid and fulfill the shoes to make sure your family's okay. It's just the stories are nonstop.
Yes, yes.
Any
They're
other
just all
success?
powerful.
Well, that's awesome. I really love that. That is
Yeah.
really
I
good.
want to give you a
phenomenal.
success story. We just heard of one Saturday. We had a graduation for last year, the 2016-17 mentorship programs, which was, like I said, 4. And I wasn't really prepared for this, but a mother got up there and she had to get a composure because she was actually starting to cry. I'm like, what in the world? And so what happened was, because we don't never always know what's going on at home.
Right.
But it said that prior to her daughter, 14-year-old daughter, being in our program, couldn't even get out of bed in the morning, never would do any chores around the house, or it'd be a big argument. So they pretty much let her go, do her own thing, just so they didn't have that confrontation. Then there was a long pause, and she broke down and cried. She said, now this same child, who happened to be a great athlete too, both the husband and wife work full-time jobs, full-time hard labor jobs. The house is completely clean, dishes done, and she said, when she was choking up, a hot meal is cooked and on the table. She says she no longer knows her child after going through our program.
That is phenomenal.
And the air came out, we're like, wow. And I guess that was one of the days when we teach giving back. Now, we never said you had to wash dishes or cook food, but she actually took it to heart. We said, somebody let you come to this program, somebody put clothes on you, somebody loved and cared you enough to let you spend your time with us away from your home and away from them.
Right.
So you need to give something back, and nothing prepared us for this mother's testimony. And as a matter of fact, not only she cried, she asked that everybody in the room stand up and give a standing ovation for this police department.
Wow.
So that's a success story in itself, I believe.
And how old was she?
She's 14 years old.
All
would you
right.
say? 14 years old.
That's awesome.
14 years old.
Yes.
You know, I think we hit everyday success stories also. You know, I think it was last week. You know, we had some parents contact us and just talk about some bullying going on at school and some fights that are going to happen, and you know, and all that just comes from the relationships that we've been able to build.
Yes.
And we get information all the time, probably on a weekly basis, from people who just tell us, hey, this is going on and that's going on, and that information is incredibly useful for us on the road.
Absolutely.
You know, we can, hey, there's going to be a fight at the park. Well, we can go to the park and be there.
Yes.
And you know, we find out who's in the park, go talk to their parents, and start getting things involved, and you know, getting the schools involved, and you know, just whatever tactic we have to, but just getting in there and intervening and preventing that from happening.
Yes.
So.
And that level of trust must be awesome to build that, you know, organically, not to kind of demand that trust.
Right, absolutely.
No, you can't demand it. You have to build it.
Yes, yes. And
The deepest situation that ever happened, I'm sure you don't mind if I bring this up, Sarge, over on Hadley Street.
Oh, yes, absolutely.
A young man had been through our camps before, and nothing prepares you for this. But I get a phone call from Sergeant Smith telling me that a young man that came up through our camps had just shot at somebody, and then possibly also shot at officers. And so that he had actually ran home, was in his house, and so it's called a barricaded subject, and there was actually other people in the house. So you know, you're talking about a real serious situation. In that situation, our SWAT team is already called out, getting in place, crisis negotiation team. Well, I was actually coaching an event at the time that he had called, so I left that event. We got together. Sarge through Police Athletic League and his coaching had a great rapport with both parents. I knew the daddy, but he knew both. And long story short, the young man said that we wouldn't have to try to storm or go into that house and his mother if we went in there and got him. And we actually turned around and went inside the house and were able to bring him out without injury to him and injury to any of our officers. And that's probably one of the greatest things I've had in my career. At 29 years, you know, you live for an opportunity like that.
Yes.
But I really felt through the grace of God first, the relationship I have with Sarge, his abilities as an officer, that neither one of us never thought twice. I think we asked, hey, you scared to go? He said, nope. And he asked me.
Wow.
And we have a great chief because, hey, if we felt comfortable, we're allowed to make that call, judgment call. And we walked right up in there and took him out. And his parents to this day are very appreciative.
wow, wow. And even in that sort of situation, you need to have that trust. And I, you know, I'm not an expert in this, but with those sort of negotiations, you have to do all that work to gain that trust. It was already there from what you put into the community. That's powerful. That's powerful, powerful. I wish I would have had this when I was growing up. Because now that's another question too. There's such a different culture today because we're all sort of the youth seem to be inside more than outside, and that leads to a lot of trouble and so forth. So how do we combat that culture of being, you know, what it's turned into, and get them out and doing activities?
Well, for one, that's why we've kind of tried to diversify what we offer. We already hit on this, that not every kid. I was a football player and I did wrestling, and then in the spring I did track just to keep myself busy and prepared for the football coming back up, and it was a circuit for me. Not every kid is that way.
Right.
We can't expect every kid to fit the same mold. We don't have cookie cutter kids. They're all individual. They're all like fingerprints. They're all their own, and they're going to have different interests. So one of the biggest things is for us to offer different things. Culinary coming up. There's skills that used to be a part of your upbringing, cooking at home and things like that, that as culture has changed, like you're saying, and the kids that we're seeing now, they're not learning how to cook at home and stuff like that. Or, you know, and if they are, it's like PB&J or Easy Mac. But we're actually talking about trying, you know, teaching them how to do the basics of cooking. Basic etiquette and manners and just different things, concepts and virtues that were once commonplace in everyday life that may not necessarily be now.
That is excellent.
Through our mentoring, we're also talking to them about things that prior generations didn't even exist, like social media use, safe social media use, what to and to not post, what information not to give people, not to expose yourself and your location, and how that can jeopardize your safety or even the safety of your household. Those are things that before this generation here, even I graduated in 2003 from high school, not that old, from this same community. We didn't have social media, we didn't have these things like these kids are dealing with now. And we've got kids in middle school, 5th, 6th, 7th grade that have cell phones, smartphones, miniature computers in their pockets with access to the whole internet. You know, never before have we had these things before us. So somebody's got to pour into them, and somebody's going to teach them how to operate. And we can either let people that do not have their best interest at heart, or we can step in and say, hey, we're the police, but we love you. We want you to know that it's not all about handcuffs. For us, it's more about relationships.
Very good. Very
Come in
good.
here and have fun, but just come and listen, because we've got some good things. And once you develop that trust, like we were just talking, they'll listen. But you got to have that fun and that trust first, and then those virtues and those concepts that you teach that they need to learn, they're open to.
Right.
Wow, that sounds like a book.
I want to touch on something you said about etiquette. I forgot, part of our mentoring program, and you get it, many of our children, it is diverse, but there are a lot of, you know, lower income. So you're talking about the greatest need for the parent is just to get food on the table. So they may not have the opportunity to really teach the proper etiquette. But we do teach an etiquette class. We actually have a professional person come and teach it. And it was funny because at the graduation, if y'all remember, some folks were laughing at one of our guys at the table because, believe it or not, he took the time, because it was we did a formal dinner for him. And he sat there and he used the right fork for dessert, used the right fork for salad, and see, at first the joke, but in the end, was it you who spot you were going to
told me, he says, Officer Reggie, you have your elbows on the table. That's incorrect.
He took it to heart, and it's like, okay, now we learned from that. And we're going to make sure that we're going to continue to incorporate that. We always wonder why they're really getting anything out of it. And I think the proof is in the pudding.
Proof is in the pudding.
Wow, that etiquette is so important for the young people. Some of them just skip right over it or not taught that. Now, when you said something about the what and what not to for young people to post on the internet or social media, what are some, if some of them are listening now, what are some things not to post?
Stop giving so much information about yourself and everything that you're doing. Like the biggest problem is, long story short, is seeking attention through social media.
Okay.
All right. Used to we'd flick spitballs or do something, or even maybe punch somebody we liked, which was a ridiculous concept then. But now we're doing whatever we want to do to get ourselves attention through likes. Through shares. And that may now we're facing decisions about what are we wearing when we share a video or a post of ourselves? Because
Not wearing.
Exactly. And once you post that, it doesn't go away. You can delete it. But all it takes is somebody to screenshot that on their phone, because we're talking about smartphones.
Absolutely.
Yes.
It never completely goes away. If once you put that out there, it's out there, and kids need to understand that. I mean, there's a lot of things that last forever that kids don't understand because they live in a very fast-paced, short-term world. I'm in this class and I'm in this class. I'm at home. I'm at school. I'm at sports. I'm back at home. Everything's short-term, very short attention spans. So they see concepts that way.
Wow.
Just what you just posted and put on the internet that quick. Oh, and then you decided that it wasn't good and you deleted it. Well, that's not the end.
Wow.
So those are the things. If I teach them when I do the little class, do my little spiel is, if your mom or your grandma would be okay with seeing this, then you might be okay.
Absolutely.
Right.
If your preacher couldn't look at this, you'd be ashamed for your preacher to see it. You might not want to post that.
Absolutely.
And when you're, whatever career, whatever job it is that you think you want to become one day, if that person that was going to hire you for your dream job saw this and had to think twice about hiring you, let's don't push send. Let's not send.
And let me add to that right there, because just so y'all know, and I want to make sure we have it on there, our goal will be for any and everybody that come to our program ultimately to be in a position to be considered for Wilson police officer. That really is our goal.
Absolutely.
And get along
That's
with
good.
Officer Johnson was saying, one of the first things we do, because recruiting is actually under Captain Smith's section of professional standard, is first thing we say is, give us your Twitter account, give us your Facebook account,
All of it.
all your social media, and guess what?
all of it.
We run all of it, and there have been people who have not gotten a job because what they posted on.
Right.
I want to throw that in there because ultimately
Wow.
we are. A matter of fact, the term I want to say the chief uses is growing our own. That's actually like a hidden part of what we do, is like growing our own. So in other words, what better police officer than somebody who started out being with us anywhere from 8 to 14 years old till they graduate college and come on.
All right, well, we were running out of time, but we want to thank each and every one of you. How can people get in contact with you and know what's going on if they want to fund or volunteer? What would they do?
Just visit us on our Facebook page or on our website, which is wpdpaal.org. And we keep all the information posted up there.
Okay. Thank you very much for joining us. And thank you for joining us on TCT Public Report.
This has been Public Report. Public Report discusses the issues of interest and importance to our viewing area. Please remember that the views expressed by our guests are their own and do not necessarily represent the views of TCT or the station.
Listen, in the spirit of service, I want you to show your faith through works. Remember, as Paul did, as he met with the Epicureans who had this idea of just enjoying life, and the Stoics who had an idea of enduring life. I want to challenge you today to find a balance. Let people see your salvation through the work that you do, the difference that you make. Take your church outside of the walls. Take your beliefs outside of your house. Show your children so they can get out into the world and show them that Christ is alive through the things that they do well.